How often do you really take the time to look around and appreciate the details in the games you're playing? Well, I decided to start noticing those details. And you've most definitely never heard of some of the details I was able to come up with. So, in this episode of Details You Missed, we'll be taking a look at the red base. Let's get started. In-game Hoofier, welcome back. Let's find ourselves some details. So we've already done the main spawn room, we've already done the intel room, and we've done the battlement spawn. So I think the next area to explore for details would be the actual base itself. And then in another episode we can go into the sewers. Let's try to survive first, and then we can start looking at some details. Looks like someone's trying to grab our intel. Now it has been a while. Been a little bit since I've done one of these episodes, but I'm very excited to be back. Anyways, I think probably the best room to start would be this one, since it's the first area you'll see when you get out of the main spawn. Now, first thing I want to say, well, that's pleasant. I got immediately one shot by that demo there, but that is the risk you run when you're doing a details series in a live server like this. Alright, let's give it another shot. Hopefully I'll be able to survive longer this time. Anyways, as I was saying, the first detail that I notice is mostly the way that this team's base is themed. It's a lot more rustic and has a bit of a farm-like appearance to it. Everything is made of wood, lots of tools, and there's hay around here. There's even a faucet right there, lots of wooden doors, and I'm getting murdered. We'll just have to wait another couple seconds, but then I can get right back into it. Alright, like I was saying earlier, a lot of things are made of wood. We have a nice red team logo right there, a bunch of different doors and such, and I have to say, for the most part, the theming is pretty concise, I would say. I actually never noticed it going out here before. I never really noticed that this was an open air area. And look, there's a catwalk as well with a some sort of like loading hook, maybe? Now, I don't know that that makes much sense, you know, realistically or architecturally, but it is interesting because I never that's actually kind of funny. I've never looked up before to see that this was an open area like that. Now, I knew that there was a what is that, like a conveyor belt or whatever that thing is in that tower. I knew that that existed already, but specifically the fact that this is completely out in the open. Never noticed that before. Never sat down once to notice that. Alright, what other details can we look at? We got some barrels up there. There's some cameras right here. You can see more farm-related supplies up on that, I don't know, storage shelf-looking thing. And again, we have open air areas with a chicken wire there, so that's pretty neat. And let's see, we have some wiring. So there's a light right here, and that goes all the way until it's hidden. Another bit of wiring here, and that connects to another light switch. And then, of course, we have, like I was saying earlier, farm tools, some bales of hay here. And you know what? I think that this should lead us down into the battlement area. Now, that's going to be a little bit harder to explore, so I would imagine I would get shot a couple times. Let's see. I don't think I've ever seen this type of light before on this map, unless I'm mistaken. I mean, over here we have some lamps. And actually, I think we have seen these lamps before. Oh, and I hadn't pointed this out, but these lamps are all connected right to that little box right there. Connection box or something. All right, let's head over here. Again, this light, it's just an open light bulb. And I'm not sure that I've seen that before on this map. Or at least, I'm not sure that we've pointed it out in this series yet. And when we head out here to the battlement area, we have, what is this? Some sheet metal acting as cover. Again, there is that conveyor-looking thing that we had mentioned. Another one of those, what is that thing called? I don't know, like a wheel, I guess. But it looks like a similar situation as earlier, where you can hook up a hook to it and carry heavy machinery up to the higher floors and all that. Now, there's a random vent. I don't think that makes sense. And you know what else? I'm curious about how wide this is. Okay, I guess that does make sense. That being storage could make sense, because there's enough space to have a little bit of a, I don't know, closet area. The vent, though, I don't know if that makes sense necessarily. We have a horseshoe there. A bunch of, what is that, beer bottles and beer cans on the floor. And we also have a warning sign here. Let's go over there. Hopefully we will survive long enough. Warning, unsafe structure. That's an interesting detail. Oh, here we go, another one of those open light bulbs. And this tower does go all the way up. I think that's funny, though, that this warning here It says just letting everybody know that it's a completely unsafe structure. This whole building potentially could be unsafe. That would work in the universe because the Mercs are not known for their collective intelligence. Here we go, some more of these lamps here. And what is this? Just a red wooden room. There is a window here, which you can shoot out of. It doesn't look like it has much practical purpose. And also, it does look a little bit out of place because, as you can see there, these support beams kind of overlap with that area. So, while that might not be necessarily a mistake, it does look a little bit like it is a mistake just because of how that overlaps in a weird way. And then this one, which potentially could also be a window, is boarded up. So that's interesting. And yes, we have right here more of these lamps. These are lamps that we saw in the intel room, or if not in the intel room, on the way into the intel room. Now, I also see some wires here that work into the building from this side. Here's another unique lamp we haven't seen before. Looks like it's missing a light on that side. And you'll notice here these wires that connect all the way over to a telephone pole over on the other side there. And, oh, I'm getting shot at. Let me go get healed up, and then we'll look for some more details. So that's interesting how these buildings are actually wired up. Now, I don't know how accurate the wiring is, if that makes sense logically, like if it's realistic. But it's good to know. It's a pretty neat detail that they are wired up to telephone wire poles or whatever those things are actually called. So I'm assuming that means that it's a power line or something like that. Alright, so we've checked out the battlements area. Let's go ahead and explore now the courtyard. I don't know what it's actually called, but I always call it the courtyard. Alright, so we see over here, we have a sign that says Happy Farmers Cooperative. Now, I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the Red Team logo. I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas here. But I wonder if maybe this is a building that existed already and they purchased this building maybe? Who knows? We have another one of those lights, except this time, well, that light is not working, but at least the light is on the fixture. In the other area, there was not a light on that fixture, but the right side is working. Here we go. Here's a restricted area sign that's actually red, because if I remember correctly, the battlements had a sign that is blue that said restricted area. And I believe that is a mistake. I would be surprised if that wasn't a mistake, actually. But here's the correct version of the sign. It's red to match the red team's area. Let's see, over here we have a bunch of barrels being stored behind this. Now, I don't understand this at all. I mean, if you look behind, you can see there's like a gate. Oh, no. I have that all wrong. It's wood. So I don't know why these barrels are boarded up. Maybe it's some sort of waste or something like that. All right, what else is around here? That's actually pretty neat. The floor is dirt. This is just open dirt for some reason. And it actually goes into the base. I wonder if it's like that on the blue team. You can see there's grass. It's uneven. There's also rocks and little flowers sticking up. And it goes pretty much all throughout the base for some reason. Hay bales and whatnot. Oh, here we go. Look at this area. Undistinguishable machinery. I don't know what it is. But there is wood in this area for some reason. And something that's neat is he doesn't understand. Oh, we have some red themed grain or some sort of sacks filled with stuff. This is all blocked off with chicken wire. But what's interesting to me, what's sticking out to me, is for some reason there's dirt and then it clips off and goes down a step into a wooden floor. Now, to me, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that in real life, but that's pretty neat, pretty interesting. Over here we have a hose, so a farm material. Why is this guy trying to? Oh. Alright, he got me. Mr. Goblin Chief murdered me mid-detail exploration. Alright, let's get back down into the courtyard, I think. There's these big... I don't know what these are for. I'm assuming it's for liquid. It kind of reminds me of like something that would hold milk, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. But yeah, there's a lantern hanging on the wall here. A bucket right there. I can see here a pickaxe and a wheel. Oh, look, a little mouse hole, right? That's what that is. I've never seen that before, I don't think. A little mouse hole. Another door here. I don't know where that leads. Oh, some more of that red sack of red grain or whatever. A bunch of loose wood down there underneath the little staircase. Let's go ahead and look out the windows, actually. So over here we have a shovel. Now, here's what's interesting. Now, I'm assuming that this has to do with the mercenary business, but you can clearly see that those are cow cutouts. But what's very interesting to me is I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe you can hear moos every once in a while on the map. Maybe that's just in SFM. I could be mistaken, and it's just in SFM. But yeah, that's for sure a cow cutout. And if you look over here as well, that's another cow cutout. And there's one that's been tipped over. Maybe that's a joke, like a cow tipping joke. Let's see. You can see more of the, well, first of all, there's a building there, which is not explorable as far as I'm aware, but it is a 2-story building. And if you look further down, you'll see a fence, which is the edge of the property maybe, because you can see a road with a bunch of telephone poles. And now I hadn't noticed this before actually until looking now, but if you jump, it clearly looks as if these telephone poles are just floating. They're not connected to anything. Maybe they're supposed to be connected to the floor, or maybe they're supposed to appear connected to the floor, but if you jump, you can clearly see that at least those first 2 telephone poles are not connected to anything. So that is for sure. I think that that's a mistake. I think it's easy to call that a mistake right there. All right, now let's walk over here. Oh, look at this. The fence is a bit warped, which I hadn't noticed before. Not huge, but interesting. Same there. A little bit of a warped fence. Ah, there's the garage. I hadn't read that before. So I guess they keep any farm vehicles in there. To me, that looks like a water spout. There's a lamp hanging there. Some hay bales. And you know what? I hadn't thought about that before, but that building, let's go up here, but that building right there, I wonder if geometry-wise that makes sense. Is that where we are in the spawn room? Editing Hoof here. Just wanted to let you all know that this does make sense. As you can see here, I have some footage of myself no clipping. I guess my depth perception is just really bad. It doesn't look like that makes sense to me, because if you're in the spawn room, there's a window, but it, you know, I don't know how I'd be able to measure that. But look at that. See, there's a window right there, and that is way too short from what we're seeing on the outside. So let's go walk around again. And look at that. There's no way. I don't really, maybe it's supposed to be this building, but... Oh, here's something interesting. This pole in the fence ends up going up to a light fixture again. And I don't think I've seen that before. And then you see there's like rooftop things. Oh, there's something I hadn't noticed before. Those little, I don't know what those things are called, but they look like chimneys to me. They actually have smoke coming out of them, which I never really looked at that stuff before. Very neat. This series is fun because there's a lot of things that you just never look at. And it's nice to see that some of these details, they make perfect sense, but you never really think about them. Here's another chimney, but this one doesn't really look like it's letting anything out. Actually, if you look at the top, it looks a little bit out of place now that I think about it. Why does it have a roof like that? Is that, maybe that's normal and I'm just not aware. What else? There's windows there, which, I mean, logically, those windows should be going into the spawn room. So I feel like that doesn't make much sense. And look, if we go over here, we have a car. What else is back there? There's a silo back there. And some sort of other structure all behind that fence. And then there's more telephone wires way in the distance. Anyways, let's go down and explore more of the base. Let's take a look at this hallway here because that'll be easier to tackle. Now there's some sort of offshoot storage area, but it's completely boarded up. I don't know what practical use that would have, but you know, worth noting. Here's another one of these lamps. So going through the spawn areas, I definitely made a comment at one point that we hadn't seen any lights like these before, but it turns out that they're just strewn all about the Oh, he wants to rock paper scissors me. All right, he'll spare me for a rock paper scissors match.
1, 2, 3. Nice work.
All right, I have to kill myself. Didn't have my kill bind. I had to do it. I think, yeah, as a TF2 player, we have to respect the rock, paper, scissors. Alright, so, let's see. Like I said, I don't understand. This doesn't make any practical sense, but you can clearly see that's boarded up. We got some tires. We got some, what are these things called? I don't know. They go on the wheels, that's for sure. Some more tools. Again, this is completely all dirt. That's something that I've definitely, like, noticed before, but never thought about. Obviously, this connects to the spawn room. Alright, we're both looking in the hole there. That's pretty funny. Oh, he's dead now. Oh, poor guy. Not many more details. It's just a wooden hallway, pretty much. Alright, now let's head into the, I don't know, the entrance area. We're gonna leave that area for later. But here we go, another one of these milk jugs. And, oh, another one of those exposed light bulbs. These are just some crates here. Double doors. It looks to me like some sort of storage area. a shovel, and more exposed light bulbs. Actually, there's a lot of these exposed light bulbs. More storage here. We got a shelf, some barrels, tires, wood, and this here is another camera. Some hay bales and whatnot. There's a wooden wheel, but that looks like a really old one. Uh-oh. What else? We got that old looking wheel. So it's another one of these like cubby areas that's been walled off to create a flat wall. Here's the grate from the bottom, which again makes sense, you know, lowering and raising stuff, although I don't know how you get it in this far with these smaller looking doorways. If you're moving heavy machinery, I don't know, I'm just thinking. Here we go. There's dirt, but then there's wood. A wooden ramp. So, see, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, look at that. The building goes down. So I don't understand how there would be a completely dirt floor. I mean, that's not how a building works, right? You'd have to make a foundation, so I could be completely wrong. And please, I'm sure that there will be people in the comments who actually know these things, because you'd have to build a foundation. Well, then again, they did say that this is not a safe building structurally, so maybe that's just more TF2 strangeness for you. But anyways, I don't want to get killed by this guy. He got me anyways. Well, I think it's strange, but you know, feel free to enlighten me in the comments and let me know if my thoughts are valid or incorrect. No, I think that's about it. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Is there anything else I missed? I guess there's some cobwebs, but that seems to be pretty much everything. But anyways, I think that about does it for this episode. We checked out the major area of the base. Next episode, I'm thinking we do the sewers area of the red team, and then we can do it all over again on the blue team side. I imagine it'll go quicker because we already know a lot of the details, but we can start doing some differences and see what that's like. If you'd like to support these videos, please check out the Patreon. For $3 a month, you will get access to patron-only videos, and you can also sign up as a member for free to get access to updates on what I'm doing, just in general, text posts about things I'm doing. Anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any ideas on how I can improve these videos, and goodbye.